on Thursday night. Jon Runyan was introduced with Trey Thomas. They're getting ready to go into the Eagles Hall of Fame. So let's go to the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room Michael Strahan's nemesis, Jon Runyan. What's up, Big John?
What's going on, guys?
John, first and foremost, we want to congratulate you on your going into the Eagles Hall of Fame Ring of Honor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You had a great career, but one thing I noticed about your career, John, you played nasty, and to be successful in the NFL, especially in these games are one up front, that's how you have to play.
Well, I mean, also it's something, you probably poke fun at me when I say this, but that was something I had in my game that other people didn't. I wasn't the fastest guy, I wasn't the most athletic guy, so that was kind of my. That was kind of my mantra and how I approached it, and I learned that all the way back from the old days of Michigan football, growing up around Bo Schembechler, and that's the way that game was played when you played for Bo and when you played for Gary Moeller and Lloyd Carr. Like all that stuff was coached. Having that constant harassment of defenders across the ball from you, and you weren't going to get on the field in Ann Arbor if you weren't like that. So it was just something that I grew into, and I made a hell of a career in the NFL out of it also.
Yeah, we sure love watching you play, and of course, going to Super Bowl 39 was definitely a highlight of your career.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a couple of not only the Super Bowl with the Eagles, but I lost that one to the Rams when I played for the Titans. So it was little disappointing, but it was when now I've been out over 10 years and kind of look back on it, and it's like, hey, there's not a hell of a lot of people that have played in this league that have actually done that type of stuff. So it's something as you get older, you kind of reminisce, and you tell those old man stories. One day I'm sure I'll be sharing those stories with my grandchildren when that day comes.
We're talking with Jon Runyan, newly inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame. John, one thing that I know that I'd like to get your thoughts on, getting into these personal accolades and, statistics and all that stuff, but hearing it from an arch enemy during your playing days, and Michael Strahan considering you a friend and looking back on your careers, you guys were going head to head with each other, and after this, after your playing days are over, to have Michael Strahan hold you in such high regard, that must mean more to you than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, the respect of your peers, and obviously Michael being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame also, believe it or not, right after that halftime ceremony on Thursday night, Michael sent me an email. I haven't spoken to him since the appearance on Good Morning America. So, but he kind of said the email just kind of reminisced about some of the things he said in his Hall of Fame acceptance speech. Was just you made me better. You made me check everything because you're that consistent and that good. So he just reaffirmed it, and and I kind of joked around. I goes, yeah, and I think both of us, after we played each other, we made our masseuses, our chiropractors, and our acupuncturists very wealthy after those battles.
Jon Runyan's our guest here on the Locker Room. Pete Thompson and Billy Schweim as he joins us on the Barb's Harley-Davidson hotline. And, John, you and I saw each other at Jaworski's event, which he does such a great job with over at that Blue Heron Pines. And I didn't even want to interrupt you. You were having such a great conversation with Greg Roman, who's a local guy, went to Holy Spirit. He's the Ravens offensive coordinator. And afterwards, after you guys were done talking, I said to him, gee, well, what were you talking about? He says, well, it's not every day you get a chance to talk shop with the guy in charge, right? And then I laughed with you, and I said, hey, man, your career, nobody wanted to face you, right, because you were just a beast on the field. Then you get off and you go into politics, and that's a no-win proposition. And now you're the vice president of Policy and Rules Administration. What was your answer to me? Do you remember what you told me?
I can't say the word that I normally say on the radio, but it started, it starts with the word starts with an A, and it's kind of like being someone that doesn't like someone. I always say, no one didn't like me when I played. No one likes an elected official, and no one likes a compliant officer. So
You're like a referee.
The goal is not to stand out, but unfortunately, sometimes you gotta make decisions that are bound by rules and policies that you have to administer, and people don't like it. But at the end of the day, when you step away from it and you're making this game safe and preserving this game for future generations, and it's awesome that I can actually still have my hand in this game doing that type of stuff.
So, could you describe then how that job works? I mean, are you in New York every day? I guess now with Zoom and Google Meet, right? You're like you're not there every day, right? But how does your gig work? I mean, for the layperson that doesn't understand what you're doing.
Well, I mean, really, yeah, I'm in New York a lot. I mean, so I may go into the office over here at NFL Films a little later today and knock out some of the games from yesterday and get a head start on it, but. Between me and my team, a couple other people will go through every single play over the weekend and kind of filter it out for player safety stuff, sportsmanlike conduct, even stuff that the officiating crews might have not have seen on the field. So that's where we're going. And then later in the week, we'll sit down with the officiating department and say, hey, we found these that we think are possible fouls. Like, what do you guys think? And they incorporate that all into their officiating grading too. They usually see them also. They'll send me stuff when they see it in their grading process. So it's just this back and forth collaboration between the two departments. And then usually by the end of the week, we formally send the club, notice, the player notice that, they're being disciplined and what have you. And then there's a whole process that's outlined in the collective bargaining agreement that we have with the Players Association on how this all works and what the amounts are and all that. I tell people, I goes, sometimes the process of administering discipline is a little bit subjective, but once you determine that there was a foul, it's pretty much written out in black and white in the collective bargaining agreement. So really, you're just checking boxes at that point.
We're talking with Jon Runyan, former Eagle, going into the Eagles Hall of Fame. Jon, you got to be pretty proud of your son playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I was watching that one last night, and I didn't, it's tough watching an offensive lineman play with watching a network feed, because you really need the coach's feed to actually watch his feet and his hands, body posture, and all that. So, that if I do get over the office today, I'm sure that's the first game I'm going to review, so I can get my job done and watch my kid play at the same time, because he got a lot of nice reps. He started the game at left guard and ended up playing at center, and I saw there was one big strip sack in the game, and I'm like, I hope that wasn't him. I hope it wasn't him. And they actually put up a replay, and it wasn't him. He had someone else locked up. So I was like,
Jon, how
big sigh of relief. That's
Jon,
great.
how cool is that? How cool is that your son's playing in the NFL, walking in your shoes, following your footsteps? I mean, that's got to be really. You guys got to be just so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's not. I mean, I never really pushed any of my kids to do anything, and obviously, even with my son, specifically in this area, because he is Jon Runyan Jr. too. You kind of got this expectation that people are going to put on you, and it's like, hey, you don't have to play football if you don't want to. And he ended up wanting to play. There's only one sport I ever made any of my kids play, and that was basketball, and they all played. Pretty much, I think my son played all the way through his freshman year in high school, and my daughters played all the way through high school. They played AAU ball, and my youngest daughter's actually be a sophomore. She plays at Villanova now.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
So it's just that's the only sport that I wanted them to play. They all, my son was one of those, the 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids that fell in love with baseball too. So we've done the Cooperstown thing and all that. So he's got a lot of different sports that he's played, but he just happened to, have my passion for football, and it wasn't something I was like, you got to make sure you want to do this, because it, especially this time of year, it's not it's not all fun and games. It's great, in the fall on Sundays, but this training camp stuff can wear on you a little bit.
No doubt. Jon Runyan with us here on the Locker Room. And, John, looking at your Wikipedia page, I found something. And I think, I know Jon Runyan. I know his story. I figure, I covered you when I worked for the TV station down here. I used to walk out through that players' lot to our news van that was underneath I-95. And, I always loved the fact that you were just a regular Joe, man. You popped open the back of that truck and had a few beverages and waited for the traffic like everybody else. Let's just hang out and we'll chill. I always loved that, but I did not know, Jon Runyan, that you are from Flint, Michigan. And it dawns on me, what was the name of that movie? Pets or Meat or something like that? I mean, Jesus, if you're coming from Flint, Michigan, you're not soft.
No, and I think another part of that story is people assume, I was one of those guys that played football my whole life, and I didn't. I was, going back to the last story I was a basketball player. And Flint is known for basketball, and it was just something that was my passion. And I got to the point where, I was, 15, 16 years old. I literally stopped growing. I've been this height since then. I've grown, horizontally, just not vertically. It was just one of those things. And, playing basketball, you're talking about going down into in downtown, playing in some of those historic gyms that, are, people like Roy Marble and Trent Tucker and Mateen Cleaves and guys like that ran on the weekends in those gyms, and that was me. And it was just football was another opportunity to try to get college paid for, because my parents were going to be able to afford it, and it worked out for me. So it was one of those great things. So I only had 2 years of football under my belt when I went off to the University of Michigan.
Well, John, listen, man, I'm ecstatic that you returned my text and came on the show today. You're regular.
How could he avoid us?
No, I know, right? But no,
sorry, buddy.
You're a real regular guy, and we are so happy for you that you're going to be inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame, much deserved. And John, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, John. We promise we'll leave you alone for a while now, buddy.
All right, there he is, John Runyan,
take care.
on the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline.